What is up, guys? It's GB and Ham is bringing you guys another video. In today's video, we're going to be comparing the newly released Series S against the Series X and the PS5, and how these three consoles, or four consoles, including the PS5 digital, and how they really are on a side-by-side comparison, and if they are worth getting compared to maybe the AMD Big Navi or the NVIDIA 3000 GPU lineup. So we're going to talk about most likely the specs first of all, and just go down the list there.
Okay, so now few things that I want to mention. So obviously, if you guys haven't heard yet, the Xbox announced their Xbox Series S, which is basically the digital and the smaller version of Xbox Series X. And then basically what my take on this is, correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, what they're talking about is that they are going against, basically versus the PS4 digital version, which is gonna be $50 to $100 difference cheaper from the actual version with the disc input, obviously. And as we have searched and many things that are coming up, there are a few changes to the graphics and the specs in the Xbox Series S versus the Xbox Series X. So we're gonna be talking about that too, and what will it bring for the consumers to choose between those consoles, all these four consoles that are going to be coming out. Instead of just two, we are having four consoles that are coming out, obviously from two companies. So we're gonna see a lot of hands-on on many things that have never been seen before, since every time we have had PS4 or Xbox came out, we have only seen two consoles, but then now we are seeing four consoles come out, release on the same day or maybe different days, but for different consumers. So we are seeing a very wide range of consumers that are going to be buying the consoles, versus we're going to see any people that are going to be preferring anything like the Nvidia's new RTX or the newly maybe announced in few days, the AMD's 6000 series. So what are your takes on that? What people should be like worried about when buying these consoles versus those graphic cards and buying a PC for themselves?
Well, you're gonna have to compare the specs most of all. So as you can see, the Series X and the PS5, they're running through the new AMD Zen 2 and AMD RDNA 2 architecture for their GPU and stuff. Since and we see that, like, the one biggest issue that I'm noticing on all four of these consoles is storage. And if the Series X and PS5 are running up to 8K resolution, how are you gonna implement, if you were to, like, let's say both have like 1 terabyte NVMe SSDs? But as you can see right now, even on a PlayStation, when Call of Duty Modern Warfare launched, many people have ran into the issues of how big the game was and how much it took on the storage. Like, it was like a slap to the face, because the game is like almost 300 gigabytes in, and that's like one Call of Duty game, and this is next gen we're talking about. They should have at least added like maybe an extra terabyte, like at least two, something to get started with, because you're paying like around, maybe, who knows, like these consoles could be around like 500 something dollars, and you're getting a 1 terabyte SSD storage on there.
Which
Like,
is also not full 1 terabyte, since
yeah.
once your system starts taking it, you're left with around 800 something. So
And
that,
don't even talk about like the upcoming system updates that they will have. Like, that's
yeah.
gradually going to reduce the amount of space you're having. And these games are going to be, they said that they're going to run like 8K resolution,
Well,
which is
I'll
insane.
be honest with you. It's actually 4K at 120 hertz, right?
Okay,
Uh,
4K,
yeah,
yeah.
4K at 120 hertz is where they bring
But
it in.
up to 8K, that
That's, I
some of
think.
these sources are saying. I
Yeah.
don't know if they're
Well, I
legit,
see that, but
but
then
yeah,
I think Xbox has and PS4 has
native
finally really,
4K.
yeah, 4K 120 hertz is where they are really pointing the finger at, because many of the displays nowadays, the 4K TVs have a specific HDMI that receives in signal for 4K 120 hertz.
Yeah.
Which is what questions brings me to it. So how would we see what is the main difference between the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X? What are the price difference, and what are the difference in graphics and specs wise that you know of?
So as Xbox did announce later on today, well, maybe yesterday now by the time this video is released, the Series S is around a price range of $300, and it's half as powerful as the Series X. We know the Series X is like their number one to go all around powerful console, and we don't know the price yet, but people are assuming it's going to be around maybe 400 to 500, depending on previous last gen console prices for comparison. So Series S, we're gonna be getting frame rates of up to 120 FPS, but instead of 4K, you're getting 1440p with the
Right.
possibility of 4K upscaling, which I don't know if that is 100%. Yeah, 100% real to 4K upscaling. And we see the storage is half of that, 512 gigabytes on it, and let me get started. It's all digital, like digital games, a digital console with 512 gigabyte NVMe. Like, come on. I know you're trying to build a budget like gaming console for 300, but come on, Microsoft. You know more than that. A digital console with that amount of storage is pointless. Like, as we mentioned, like, and you're also not getting a disk drive since it's digital, and we don't know about the RAM, but people are speculating that it's going to be around close to 8 gigabytes, so basically half of what the Series X is. And CPU and GPU are probably going to be running through maybe RDNA 2, but maybe some sort of lower teraflop rate ratio. So yeah, cores maybe we see on Series X is like 8 cores. That could be probably half on the Series S, 4 cores. And we also noticed that GPU is 12 teraflops on the Series X, while possibly on the Series S, I believe it is around 6 or 8, which I may be wrong about that.
Yeah,
But
obviously the speculations.
yeah, speculations. But we can see, like, honestly, wouldn't it be rather 100% obvious to go for maybe spending an extra 200 for Series X as you're getting 4K and higher storage and like all around better like specs in there? Like, if you're not like a digital fan, like yes, you got that Blu-ray disc, like it's more of an entertainment also in there, while the Series S really isn't. But honestly, I believe that that extra 200 could go into a Series X, and you'll be 100% more satisfied than getting the Series S if you can afford a Series X.
Right, we still see ray tracing coming through. Now, my issue is that how are we looking at ray tracing in such a small form factor, like 60% form factor? Imagine that, like, as a cooling factor, right? So you have a CPU, because we don't have a dedicated GPU like in PCs that have its own fans running around and cooling the GPU. How would you cool something like that, even on at 1440p at 120 frame per seconds, right? Like I see that 120 frame per seconds going upscale to 4K when you connect it to 4K TV, but then ray tracing is also there. So I'm expecting, like, this guy's probably loud as hell, or there's something that's in there like water cooling or something. That better be something like that that's cooling the GPU components and the CPU component, because if it's not, then I don't think it's gonna end up very well for Xbox Series S. And as you mentioned, obviously people should go for the X series. Like, it's obvious, if you're buying something next gen, wouldn't you want to buy something that's 4K compatible with 120 FPS and with full resolution?
And now that where we are at a generation where 1080p TVs are slowly fading away.
Yeah, we don't
And
even
now
see any full HD TVs. Like, freaking 4K TVs are like what, $300-400 now.
Yes.
So we can see this kind of a big deal, right? And it's also a deal breaker when it comes to performance. And then, as you mentioned, is 512 gigabytes, which at the end of the day you will be left with 400 something. Just to be honest with you, that's how the operating system works. And what if since it's a digital version, many times when you have something like this run, it takes a lot of storage to run these type of consoles, since they have their own recovery, their own kind of reserved storage. So if your game console crashes or whatever it may be, you can rebuild or whatever the possibilities here. Now 4K upscaling, we have seen it many times in the past. It does not work very well. It's like putting a Blu-ray disc and then expecting the 4K resolution to be better, like amazing, right? Instead of putting a 4K disc and having a 4K display, right? It's like that. Oh yeah, let's put a Blu-ray here and then have a 4K display. Obviously, it's not gonna work very well. But obviously, we are seeing a very small form factor, so I see that they took out 4K. Because it could be an issue with overheating. Now we don't know if it's an issue right now, since it still has ray tracing, right? We're still seeing ray tracing in there, which is a good, good news. Otherwise, this is definitely not a to go. If they took out ray tracing, they still have that, obviously pretty good. It's just that something that we have never thought of, that they're gonna go through the hassle to decrease the amount of stuff that they're giving, just to compete with the competitor like the PS5 digital version, which is coming with everything that the regular PS5 comes with. But honestly, form factor shouldn't be an issue, since you're gonna just keep this thing in one place and you're not gonna move it around like a Nintendo Switch, right? What is the point of buying a console like these when you're not gonna move them around? You should just go for the best one. And then as you mentioned, that storage is an issue, really big issue. Even for PC gamers, it might be an issue with people with like 1 terabyte hard drives, when you have like, oh yeah, 250 gigabytes of just Call of Duty, and then we don't know what's going on in the next new upcoming Call of Duty, which is, I'm hopefully they do something about that. And then we are seeing some companies making deals like the Call of Duty that's coming out, Cold War, that you can buy edition that you're gonna be able to play it on the new generation. So we are seeing a lot of things here. Some things are that does just not pile up sometimes, like the Xbox Series S, and we also see that PS5 is just hasn't been the price point hasn't been released yet, so we are still waiting on that. So what are your takes? Like, what do you think? What we are seeing here? So who are gonna be the consumers? Like, what are we looking at? Like, who's gonna be buying these consoles versus people who actually think the 3070, the RTX 3000 series will be a better take for the PC versus this that can only do 4K 120 hertz versus the 8K on the RTX the 3000 series. And then we see a lot of difference in the quality and then gaming experience.
Well, we can see that the trend is really hard as we are looking in. Many people are still gonna stick with console gaming because it's still the norm for a lot of people. And like, yes, going on, we might see like a few people moving on to these new type of gaming PCs in order to get the GPUs, the 3000 Nvidias and AMD Big Navi. We can see, but many people, I believe, are gonna personally stick to consoles since of these few reasons. Probably because maybe they are held onto their parental incomes, like they are like living under the house of their parents, and they have to like their parents may not want to get them all the go through the hassle of building a PC, like building a PC is very, it's a very insane experience, honestly. Like
We
like
saw that with when we were
yeah,
building a PC,
like
huh?
it's new, and it's if you don't know what you're really doing, you can probably like chip a CPU like pin or something, and like you gotta know what you're really doing. Like it's a lot of
So
research and time.
also another issue, like I don't think we're gonna see the RTX 3070 anytime soon in the pre-builds, right? So that's
Yeah,
also an issue when it comes to like that. And the easiness of keeping a console into a side or a table and then just connecting is just super convenient versus a PC. Oh yeah, you gotta get a monitor, you gotta get these cables, you gotta get a keyboard and mouse and a headphone and mic and all that kind of stuff. So versus that, I think you were right that many people are just gonna choose what they're gonna stick with, right? And we also have an issue where Xbox and PS4 have their own games that don't even come out on PC. So those games, some people just love, like the Halo that we
yeah.
saw, which is also on PC. But obviously, there are some things that are PS4 only, like the we saw the Naughty Dogs, like the Uncharted, and then we have The Last of Us. So those kind of games are like very specific for per console. So I think that also adds up to that point where people don't have the money sometimes. They don't want to move on to something more heftier and then more of an issue. They just want a controller and sit back on their couch and play on TV instead of like getting a chair and then doing all that kind of good stuff. So I think this plays a lot into that thing. It's so
It's also
convenient.
something to do with being a fan, like for these
Right. That's
like
also
gaming companies. Like if the fandom is gonna strive, like you're gonna see like there's not gonna be many people like gonna go from maybe a PS5 to PC unless they really want to. Like even for me, I have a PC, but now I do, which but I'm still gonna 100 maybe like a 50% chance of me possibility of getting a PS5. Like I may even buy one for myself too. Like there's people who like that. Like they'll have maybe all consoles and PC. They might have like all these both Xbox and PlayStation and PC. There's people like it's something to do with like staying true to your gaming heritage. Like I would say, and it's called being like a true fan to where you like when I first got like my first very Xbox, like it was like a whole game changer for me. And like people like that, they may look back at that time and be like, I want to stay true as an Xbox fan or like a PlayStation fan. And that may, really be their motivation to either get a console or go on to PC if they wanted to or not. So
right, and
you know,
also comes out like what happened is your friends are already on that console, right? So like
yeah,
it's a very hard push to get everyone to a PC and then get everyone transferred there,
hundred
and then
percent.
right. So like many people don't have the money sometimes, don't have the things that a PC needs. You need to buy these monitors, this keyboard, and then as I mentioned before. So the friends is also an issue when your friend has a console and then he's like, oh well, I'm not gonna buy a PC, I'm gonna buy PS5. At that
But that
point you're like,
also brings us to uh cross-gen compatibility. As we see with Modern Warfare, they have introduced this new sort of like whole game genre basically where PlayStation, Xbox, and PC all three meet together as one basically, on one like game. And we see this like it's huge. Like most of these games are probably gonna have cross-gen compatible. As we can see with Halo, like Halo's gonna be cross-gen compatible on PlayStation. I mean, no, not PlayStation, but Xbox and PC. And it's just huge, like what they're doing now. So either if you don't have the friends, you can still be able to play with them.
right, so cross platform is coming, and I'm thinking that many games like Fortnite and Modern Warfare, obviously Warzone, we have these things that are coming together, which will be helping benefit both the console and the PC gamers in the near future. So yeah, guys, this is what we called a conference of console wars versus the PC and what you should be choosing. Comment down below what you will be choosing and what will you be buying versus what we said, and then all that kind of good stuff. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you subscribe, like, and then press the notification button to see new future updates on these type of talks. So yeah, anything that you are missing out and holding on to and you want to say?
Nothing much. Just stay active and comment down whichever one. If you agree with us on these points that we have mentioned, and whatever console you are getting, like Hamis mentioned, and don't forget to watch that giveaway video too.
Yeah, we have a giveaway going through
Right
for
here. Hold on.
yeah, that's gonna be the SG60 as he's showing. So yeah, so thank you for watching, everyone, and I hope you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video.